From the numerous teaser videos to the mullet-filled Super Bowl commercial, the brand new Kawasaki Ridge received one of the most highly anticipated side-by-side rollouts of all time. Kawasaki markets the Ridge as a sport utility vehicle, making it competition for the Can-Am Commander, Polaris General XP, and Yamaha R-Max 1000s. Examining the specifications, it appears that Kawasaki is intent on delivering serious sport utility performance, while delivering work capability once reserved for the rec utility class, with machines like the Polaris Ranger and Can-Am Defender already blurring boundaries. The Ridge and Ridge XR models offer some distinctly different features, providing a slightly different experience for different types of drivers. Confused yet? Make sure to watch till the end. By then, we'll tell you everything you need to know to pick which Kawasaki Ridge best fits your needs. To prove the Ridge was worth the hype, Kawasaki invited members of the media to West Virginia to the Hatfield McCoy Trail System to put the new Ridge and Ridge XR to the test. UTV On Demand's test of the 2024 Kawasaki Ridge was made possible by Planet Side by Side makes upgrading your ride fast and affordable with their price match guarantee and free shipping on orders over $99. A leader in wheel and tire packages. They stock System 3, Maxxis, ITP, Fuel, Method Race wheels, and more. Planet Side by Side serves your off-road audio needs with brands like Wet Sounds, SSV Works, and Rockford Fosgate. For all your side-by-side needs with no interest financing available, visit planetsidebyside.com. Trim packages. The Ridge and Ridge XR are offered in various trim packages, utilizing the same engine as the Ridge. The Ridge XR takes a jump in horsepower from 92 to 116. Drive modes are unique among the two machines, and the XR model's tires increase in diameter from 27 to 30 inches, increasing ground clearance. Most XR models feature dual high-back bucket seats, replacing the 3-seat bench seat found in the standard Ridge. XR models also gain front LED accent lights. The Ridge is available in 4 trim packages. Available for model year 2025, there's a base model with pricing to be announced. The 2024 Ranch Edition picks up a Warn VRX 45 winch and a unique look for $23,999. The fully enclosed climate-controlled HVAC model features automotive-style glass all around, with a washer and wiper-equipped windshield, a lined dome light-equipped roof, rear view mirror, and sells for $29,999. The premium enclosed and climate-controlled Ridge Limited, one of the models we're testing, gains a Warn VRX 45 winch, 8-inch touchscreen infotainment system with a Garmin GPS and group ride, a 4-speaker stereo, front and rear facing cameras, and a painted rear bumper, listing for $33,499. 116 horsepower XR models include the standard Ridge XR. The XR Deluxe is the one XR model featuring a 3-passenger bench seat with adjustable driver's seat. The Ridge HR HVAC, the other model we're testing, has a fully enclosed climate-controlled cabin with automotive glass, a washer and wiper equipped windshield, lined roof with dome light, and a rear view mirror. Pricing on the XR models was not available at the time of this recording, so check Kawasaki.com for final pricing. From what we've seen, pricing should be in line with the other sport utility or rec utility machines on the market. Technical details. A brand new engine design was developed for the Ridge with a focus on minimizing noise, vibration, and maximizing performance. The result is a 999cc inline 4-cylinder water-cooled engine with 4 valves and double overhead cams per cylinder. With a sporty 10.6 to 1 compression ratio, fuel is delivered to the engine via electronic fuel injection. A 12.9-gallon fuel tank is class-leading in the sport utility segment. Both models feature electronic throttles with 3 modes: work, utility, and sport. Thanks to different exhausts and unique ECU tuning, the XR models produce 116 horsepower and 73.8 foot-pounds of torque, with non-XR models producing 92 horsepower and 65.8 foot-pounds of torque. We frown on manufacturers using the exact same engine with different tunes to reach different horsepower levels and different price points, and unfortunately, it's becoming more common. Other machines in the sport utility class produce between 100 and 108 horsepower. Similar displacement recreation utility machines are producing a claimed 82 horsepower. Air is drawn from high under the hood, with final intakes mounted at the front of the engine, with air filter access available from inside the cab. A rear exiting exhaust and fan-cooled engine compartment help mitigate noise and heat. Drive duties begin with a fully automatic CVT transmission, featuring high and low forward ranges plus neutral and reverse. XR models feature slightly stiffer clutch springs for faster engagement at a slightly higher RPM for snappier acceleration. Without a centrifugal clutch, engine braking is provided electronically by slightly opening the throttle on descents with zero throttle input to keep the transmission engaged, providing engine braking. Both Ridge models feature two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, and four-wheel drive lock settings. In two-wheel drive, both Ridge models operate with a limited slip rear differential, similar to turf mode on other models to minimize damage to sensitive surfaces. In four-wheel drive, the limited slip front differential kicks in. In four-wheel drive lock, the Ridge rear differential fully locks. In the Ridge XR, both front and rear differentials lock. Like others, Kawasaki is boasting of rather infrequent air filter and oil changes. Access points are easy to get to. We'd recommend continuing to service the air filter and changing the oil frequently to maximize the vehicle's lifespan. Renowned for their robust build quality, Kawasaki developed a brand new tubular steel chassis for the Ridge. The cage is profiled, allowing for flush mounting of the windshield doors and rear panel. Plastic skid plates are used to protect the underside of the frame. Steel wheel wells are used up front to protect the occupants from debris that can punch through plastic into the cab. This is a safety feature that should be found on all side-by-sides. Double wishbone suspension is used at both ends, delivering 12.7 inches of wheel travel, which is pretty competitive in the sport utility class. Kawasaki boldly decided to forego sway bars at both ends to maximize articulation. The shock spec seems more in line with the rec utility than the sport utility segment. 5-way preload adjustable shocks are used at all four corners, unlike the threaded preload, nitrogen reservoir, and damping adjustable shocks found on current high-end sport utility models. Rack and pinion steering with speed-sensitive electronic power steering is standard on all Ridge models. All Ridge models utilize 14-inch cast aluminum wheels wrapped in Duro Power Grip 2 tires. The Ridge rolls on a staggered tire setup with 27x9 by 14-inch fronts and 27x11 by 14-inch rears, resulting in 12.6 inches of ground clearance. Tire load ratings dictated the use of a staggered tire setup in order to provide the same load and towing ratings across both models. The XR has a square tire setup, utilizing 30x10 by 14-inch tires at all four corners. We typically prefer the handling characteristics of a square tire setup, and it allows you to swap tires front to rear more easily in the event of a front flat. The XR's taller tires yield a very competitive 13.8 inches of ground clearance. The Ridge measures in at 64 inches in width with a 90.7 inch wheelbase and a 125.4 inch overall length. Overall height is 82.3 inches for the XR and 81.1 inches for the standard Ridge. A curb weight of 1,898.5 pounds for the non-cab equipped Ridge XR is in line with the other sport utility side-by-sides. The XR HVAC weighs 2,066.1 pounds, with the Ridge Limited weighing 2,127.8 pounds, putting them in line with the weight of the other enclosed HVAC equipped rec utility side-by-sides. Four-wheel hydraulic disc brakes slow the Ridge. 249mm rotors are used at all four corners. Front to rear braking bias is achieved by using dual piston calipers front and single piston calipers rear. All models are parking brake equipped. While current sport utility machines seem to trade a bit of work capability for improved sport performance, the Ridge doesn't seem to. Rated to tow 2,500 pounds with its 2-inch hitch receiver, in addition to hauling another 1,000 pounds in the bed. Weight capacities are in line with the rec utility segment. Bed dimensions are also more in line with what we'd expect to find on a utility machine. Operation is standard for the industry. It's hydraulically assisted and opens with an easy-to-use lever on either side of the bed. Both models feature floor space under the passenger seat. On bench seat equipped models, the passenger seat flips up, providing even more room. Both feature some additional storage space behind the seat on either side. The Ridge features well laid out, automotive-inspired interiors with interior lighting and backlit switches on all models. The column of the 24.4-degree tilt-adjustable D-shaped steering wheel is covered for a clean look. Two-seat models feature slider-adjustable driver and passenger seats with 5 inches of movement in half-inch increments. Only the driver's seat is adjustable on the 3-passenger models. The center backrest flips down on 3-seat models, providing 2 additional cup holders and a couple added storage trays. 2-seat models feature an added storage box in the center armrest. Added storage is provided by a right-side mounted glove box. There's also a small flip-top box on the top right of the dash with dual USB ports. All non-HVAC models have a top center dash mounted storage box. And all models except the touchscreen equipped Limited have a nice sized storage pocket center dash. Limited models gain an upper storage box located above the windshield between the speakers. 6 cup holders are found in all units. Powered windows are standard on all HVAC equipped models. Now that we've covered the details, it's time to get to the test. Hitting the Bear Wallow Trail in the morning on the Ridge Limited, then the Rock House Trail in the afternoon with the Ridge XR HVAC.
We go into the Rock House.
We put a little over 50 miles on the Ridge on relatively easy trails. Switchbacks, water breaks, and a few moderate rocky climbs posted the biggest challenges. Entering and exiting is easy thanks to its unobstructed floor space. It's even easier on models equipped with bench seats. Switches, latches, and handles all seem high quality. About the only thing that screamed utility was the pull-out parking brake handle on the dash, and we honestly didn't have a problem with it. The seats are comfortable on both units, although we give the nod to the slightly thicker, more bolstered seats on the XR. They're thicker on the base of the front, giving them a slightly more laid-back feeling. They also raise the occupants a bit, helping to improve sightlines. That being said, the sightlines on all Ridge models are excellent, out of the front, back, or sides of the machines. The short, steep hood seems to disappear in front of you, which is great for rock crawling, steep hills, or operating the Ridge in a tight space. Hitting the trail in the morning, the temps were in the lower 40s, but we were warm and toasty inside the Limited. Power output on the 92 horsepower Ridge was strong and satisfying. Low end power is decent. We're not sure it will growl around quite as happily at super low RPMs as a twin cylinder, but it more than makes up for it as the RPMs climb a little. Mid-range and top-end power are good, and it seemed that the engine and CVT are tuned to do their best work in the mid-range and up. At first, the Ridge had us wondering how quickly the engine was going to top out, but we managed to get it up into the 60s and still climbing before we ran out of trail. The Ridge's claim to top out at 68 miles per hour, with the Ridge XR topping out at 74. In-cabin noise was pretty low, allowing us to communicate without much effort while wearing helmets. Engine braking worked reasonably well, especially in low range, although we aren't sure it delivers the same consistent feeling we've come to expect from a centrifugal clutch-equipped transmission. Switching to the Ridge XR in the afternoon, the sun came out and we wound up running the air conditioning. And who cared what the ambient temperature was? We enjoyed consistent comfort. Hitting the gas, the added punch of the stiffer clutch springs and 116 horsepower output were immediately detectable, taking the sport feeling of the Ridge XR to a higher level. It wasn't enough to make us turn our nose up at the Ridge, but it certainly delivered more fun factor. The stiffer clutch springs improved off-idle acceleration. Power seemed improved throughout the RPM range. Still, the XR prefers to rev, and it delivers more excitement when you let the inline 4 rip. With its horsepower increase, assisted by a freer flowing exhaust tip, along with it comes a bit more noise, forcing you to up your conversation volume a little. We asked around, and everyone was in agreement that the XR is a bit louder. The limited slip rear differential and two-wheel drive was all we really ever needed during testing. Swapping to four-wheel drive to engage the limited slip front differential to help pull us through turns and up a couple questionable sections. Four-wheel lock was completely unnecessary throughout our testing, although the XR's locking front and rear differentials would have given it the biggest advantage in the gnarliest terrain. The four-wheel lock mode on the standard Ridge, with its locking rear differential and limited slip front differential, would be the most advantageous racing out of turns on high-speed trails. We kind of wish Kawasaki would have just put the rear differential on its own switch to help maximize drivetrain versatility. While the shock spec appears utilitarian, its ride quality is worthy of the sport utility class. Small bump compliance invites you to ride all day, with good mid-stroke support and bottoming resistance. Switching from the 27-inch tire-equipped Ridge to the 30-inch tire-equipped XR, the difference in ride quality was small, further emphasizing the quality of Kawasaki's shock tube. The suspension ate up a number of decent hits without bottoming. We managed to bottom both ends, jumping off a water break into a dip, so we know that bottoming the shocks is possible, but you're going to have to work pretty hard to find their limits. The lack of sway bars aid articulation and small bump compliance without a serious detriment in handling. The Ridge handles relatively flat, whether you're accelerating, braking, or cornering. Admittedly, we didn't get the opportunity to push very hard. Even still, the Ridge seems to lack the boaty feeling we've come to expect from rec utility side-by-sides. Handling is more sport utility than rec utility. Steering is light and precise, with little bump feedback. Braking performance is very good. There's plenty of power, and braking balance is well dialed. Good feel through the pedal makes the brakes easy to modulate, with no unwanted lockups. While we did not get the chance to test the Ridge utility capabilities, Kawasaki certainly has a reputation for building hard-working vehicles with their mule line. With capacity ratings that rate in the rec utility category, the Ridge could easily be the hardest working machine in the sport utility segment. Conclusion. After driving the Ridge, it seems pretty clear what Kawasaki was after. Sportier than a rec utility machine, with greater utility capability and creature comforts than the sport utility class. A true crossover. The Ridge could compete in either class. So how do the Ridge and Ridge XR compare? The Ridge rewards you with a quieter ride than the Ridge XR, while still delivering 10 horsepower more than its two main recreation utility rivals. Of course, if you want to enjoy a factory-installed stereo and GPS, the Ridge Limited is your machine. Perhaps the Ridge leans slightly toward the rec utility category compared to the XR, but its ride is just as sporty, with engine performance that is not lacking in terms of capability on the trail. The more sport utility class focused Ridge XR definitely ups the fun factor with its added horsepower and snappier clutching. The chassis didn't seem at all taxed by the extra performance. The larger tires didn't seem to hamper engine or handling, leaving us feeling that the Ridge was developed around the higher horsepower and larger tires of the XR. With 8 horsepower more than our sport utility shootout winner, the Yamaha R-Max, the Ridge XR is built to party as hard as it works. The brand new Kawasaki Ridge and Ridge XR are different, unique, and for many, they're side-by-sides without compromise. For more information on the all-new Kawasaki Ridge and their full line of side-by-sides and ATVs, log on to Kawasaki.com.